Hi, it's Niecey. I miss reading you guys stories. So I'm going to read you a story, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You ready? This book is actually called The Three Bears, and it was written by Paul Galdone. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived together in a house of their very own in the woods. See their house? One of them was a wee little bear. One of them was a middle-sized bear, and the other was a great big bear. They each had a bowl for their porridge. Porridge is just like oatmeal. The little wee bear had a little wee bowl. The middle-sized bear had a middle-sized bowl. And the great big bear had a great big bowl. They each had a chair to sit in. Now the little bear, he had a wee little chair right there. And the medium-sized bear, well, she had a medium-sized chair. And the great big bear had a great big chair. And they each had a bed to sleep in. The little wee bear had a little wee bed. The middle-sized bear had a middle-sized bed. And the great big bear had a great big bed. Now one morning the three bears made porridge for their breakfast and poured it into their bowls, but it was way too hot. So they decided to go for a walk in the woods while it cooled. While the three bears were walking, a little girl named Goldilocks came to their homes. First she looked in the window, and then she peeked through the keyhole. Of course, there was nobody home. Goldilocks found the handle of the door, and the door was not locked because the three bears were trusting bears. They didn't think anyone would harm them or ever go in their house. So Goldilocks opened the door and went right in. There was the porridge on the table. It smelled so good. Goldilocks didn't stop to think whose porridge it was. She went straight to it. Look at the three bowls right there. First she tasted the porridge in the great big bear's bowl, but it was way too hot. Then she tasted the porridge in the middle-sized bear, but it was too cold. And then she tasted the porridge of the wee little bear, and it was just right. It was delicious. And she ate it all up. Then she went into the living room, and there were three chairs. First she sat down on the chair of the great big bear, but it was way too hard. Then she sat down in the middle chair for the middle-sized bear, but it was way too soft. Then she sat down in the chair of the wee little bear. It was neither too hard nor too soft. It was just right. Goldilocks liked it so much she rocked and rocked and rocked until she broke the chair. Oh no. Goldilocks decided to look in the next room, which were the bedrooms. She found beds where the three bears slept. First she lay down on the bed of the great big bear, but it was too high and it was way too hard. Then she lay down upon the bed of the middle-sized bear, but it was too high and way too soft. Then she lay down upon the bed of the little wee bear. It was neither too high, too soft, too hard, but guess what? It was just right. She covered herself up and she fell fast asleep. By this time, the three bears were done their walk and they were looking forward to their porridge. When they got home, Goldilocks had left the spoon of the great big bear in his porridge bowl, and the great big bear noticed it right away. "Somebody's been tasting my porridge," said the great big bear in his great big voice. Goldilocks had left the spoon of the middle-sized bear in her porridge bowl too. "Somebody's been eating my porridge too," said the middle-sized bear in her little middle-sized voice. Then the wee little bear looked at his bowl and he said, "Hey, somebody's been tasting my porridge and is eating it all up," cried the wee little bear in his wee little voice. The three bears went into the living room. Goldilocks had left the cushion crooked in the chair of the great big bear. And the great big bear said, "Hey, somebody's been sitting in my chair," in his great big voice. Goldilocks had squashed down the cushion in the chair of the middle-sized bear. And she said, "Somebody's been sitting in my chair," said the middle-sized bear in her sort of middle-sized voice. Then the wee little bear looked at his chair and he said, "Hey, somebody's been sitting in my chair and they sat right through it and broke it all up into pieces." The three bears went into the bedrooms. Goldilocks had pulled the pillow of the great big bear out of place, and the great big bear noticed it. "Somebody's been lying in my bed," said the great big bear in his great big voice. Goldilocks had pulled the blanket of the middle-sized bear out of place, and the middle-sized bear said, "Somebody's been sitting in my bed or lying in my bed, I could tell," she said in her middle-sized voice. Then the little wee bear looked at his bed. "Somebody's been sleeping in my bed, and wait a minute, she's still there." This is when Goldilocks woke up. There were the three bears staring at her. Goldilocks was so scared that she tumbled out of bed and ran to the open window, and out she jumped. And she ran away as fast as she could, never, ever looking behind her. Now, no one really knows what happened to Goldilocks after that. But as for the three bears, they never saw her again. The end. I hope you liked the story. If you did, I'll read you another one. I love you guys.